Welcome to Higher Self Mastery, the podcast for women ready to leave behind who they were told to be and remember who they truly are. I'm your host, Dami Schumacher. This is your space to come home to yourself, to honor the inner pull for more truth and more depth, and more meaning as you enter a new chapter of your life. Together, we're reframing midlife crisis into the midlife magic that it actually is, because this is your rebirth. Through soulful conversations and spiritual tools, you'll reconnect to your truth and reclaim your voice and live the life that your soul came here for. So let's begin. Hello and welcome back to another episode. Thank you so much for being here. So as we move into the dark, quiet winter months, it's a beautiful time for slowing down and for inner reflection and doing that deep work within yourself to do the exploration journey deeper than you normally would any other time of the year, perhaps to delve into who you really are, to peel back the layers of what's holding you back, where some of your stories, some of your limitations, your beliefs originate from. And all of that beautiful, dark magic work that I so love to do. And you may well already be doing some of this work, sitting down in the evenings and lighting a candle and sitting down to journal or do some meditation or do some hypnosis. And so I wanted to talk to you about another practice that you may have heard of before. If not, I so hope that you will feel inspired to give it a go by the time you've finished listening to this episode, and that is mirror work. I first tried mirror work about 4 years ago. As I was beginning to come out of a very, very dark time in my life, perhaps the darkest time of my adult life. And I had already been working with my transformation teacher at the time, so I had quite a few tools in my toolbox that were helping me to heal and make sense of where I was in life and how I fit into the world. Yet there were other things that I needed to keep exploring for myself, and mirror work was certainly one of those. And it's such a simple tool that is readily available and accessible to most people, yet I'm pretty sure it's a very underutilized tool and practice, and so many of you will probably never have even done it before, or maybe dabbled in it but haven't fully taken it to deeper levels of healing that it absolutely can. So this is going to be my invitation to you at the end of this episode for you to take this into the remainder of your week and give it a little go, just a minute a day, and begin this practice, which is so simple yet wonderfully profound and powerful. So when I say mirror work, most people will probably think of looking at yourself in the mirror and learning to love what you see. So physical appearance is what usually comes to mind. And yes, this absolutely can be a part of it. And certainly, I think for everybody, man or woman, and irrespective of age, body image is so pressurized by advertising and society and all of that nonsense out there, all the fake news that we see on social media and all the touching up and the AI and everything. Like, it's worse than it's ever been, but it's always been a problem, right? And it puts pressure on people to show up and look in a certain way that probably doesn't even feel authentic to them or even make them happy, but to feel like that is what is expected of them, or to feel like that is how they will be included. So body image is a ongoing healing practice, whether you are 12 or 20 or 30 or 45 or hopefully beyond 40, 45. And the work that I'm doing here with all of you ladies and the things that we talk about, I'd like to think, by the time we've hit 50 or thereabouts, then it's sort of finally we've been able to put it to rest and just shrug everything off and say, I love myself exactly as I am and I'm good. But for a lot of people, this is something that may even continue beyond that age as well. So yes, mirror work absolutely is there and can support your journey of accepting your own body image. But it's so much more than appearance. But yes, please do use it for that as well. And what I would say is start small, like with anything. Build on the practice. Start at the level that is right for you, that is not going to be too triggering or too difficult. Somewhere that then becomes a sustainable practice, because it's those daily reps that are going to really help you see the transformation and the change, not just doing it the once and then being so triggered or emotionally heightened by the experience that then you put it to bed and not consider doing it again for another 2 months, right? So that's not what we want. So when I first started this work, yes, it was for me about body image, but it was also about just this whole journey of self-acceptance of who I was and reconnecting with myself. Because at this point, when I turned 40, I didn't recognize myself anymore. I didn't know who I was. I felt so lost in every sense of the word. I don't believe I was putting myself first in any way either, or taking care of myself. Everybody else's needs, everything else in my life had become a priority. The business, my child, just everything. And I was right at the bottom of that pile and just been squashed out. I wasn't doing anything that really lit me up, that was really aligned with who I am. I ended up making decisions and going along and making choices that just weren't the right fit for me at all. So I became so disconnected with myself and really quite numb to my emotions and my feelings, because it was the only way that I knew how to survive. I was living in survival. That when I looked in the mirror, when I looked at my life, I didn't recognize anything. And it didn't feel like me. It didn't feel like my life. It didn't feel like it belonged. And my physical body was going through the motions and living this life, but I wasn't wrong. It wasn't me in any sense of the word, which is why it felt so disconnected. So when I started this work of mirror work, it was very much about reconnecting with me as a person. And that's where I invite you to begin this work. So just to start by looking at yourself in the mirror, just your head. So a little small makeup mirror or something like that at the dressing table or the bathroom. And just begin by gazing into your own eyes. That's it. No particular intention, no affirmations, you're not speaking out loud, but just hold your gaze and see if you can do that. And number of different things is likely to happen at this point. One, you may feel awkward looking at yourself in the eyes. You may feel silly. You may feel embarrassed. You may feel shy. And when you have these emotions, they're going to feel even more uncomfortable because you're going to wonder why it feels this uncomfortable to look at yourself. And I know I certainly went through a range of different emotions. When I first began, I've always considered myself as a fairly confident individual. So I really, really did not see this coming. I just thought this would be fairly easy to do. And what really came up for me was very unexpected. But initially, in those first few days when I started this work and I was looking at myself and looking in the mirror, looking at my own eyes, I couldn't hold my own gaze. I couldn't look at myself and just hold that gaze. It felt so uncomfortable. And so many different emotions came up. There was guilt. There was shame. There was remorse. Because I realized that I had been neglecting myself all this time. I was shameful that I had allowed myself to be pushed to the bottom of the pile. I was uncomfortable that I didn't recognize who I was looking at. I was sad. And I think it was something like day 2 or day 3 when I was doing this practice. I had this overwhelming sense of emotions come up for me, and I just bawled my eyes out for not having been there for myself, for allowing myself to slip away, to be forgotten. And maybe you might have a similar experience, maybe you won't. But wherever you are and whatever healing you need, it will come up for you. And so, yes, this work, mirror work, is very much there to help you to heal the body image, identity image, the physical appearance aspect of your relationship with yourself. Absolutely, it can do that and it should do that, and I encourage you to do that. But it is so much more than that. It's about the relationship that you have with yourself. Because think about your loved ones, whether it's your partner or your children or your best friend. You can sit there and you can look at them in the eyes and hold that gaze and fill them with love and shower them with that love and that kindness and that devotion and the time. But when do we do that for ourselves? Have you ever done that? I don't think until this point, 5 years ago, I had ever actually done that. And in fact, it was the opposite, that the opposite behavior that I noticed in myself that made me curious about doing the mirror work as a tool for healing. And what I mean by that is that I began to notice that when I looked at myself in the mirror, for the most part, I don't speak out loud. I don't have a conversation with myself in the mirror, like out loud, like I am speaking to you right now. But there was certain situations, certain circumstances where I did speak out loud to myself. And it was when I was really angry with myself, when I was really disappointed in myself. And I would say the most nasty things out loud to myself, always in the mirror. And I would tell myself off. And I would shout at myself and scream at her. Tell her what kind of a stupid idiot she's been. And all of those other things. And it occurred to me, I mean, I'd begun to do this work already with my transformation teacher by this point, before I started this mirror work. So now I have a completely different awareness, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like the power of words. If you haven't already, I previously did an episode back in October, I think it was, about the power of self-talk. So go back and listen to that, because that's connected to what I'm talking about here today, and this particular story here as well. So at this point, I already had this awareness of like, oh my gosh, what am I saying to myself? Like, this is so damaging, so much more damaging than just nasty, daggered words that I'm, throwing at myself. It's so much deeper than that. I can't continue doing that. But what I also realized was, I don't speak out loud with as much emotion and as much passion and shower myself with kindness and love. Why not? And so that's when I began to get curious about the mirror work, and what sort of nudged me to sort of look into what that would look like and feel like if I did turn that around on its head. And thank goodness I did. And another thing that I also did at the time as well, because I was so disconnected with myself, I remember seeing it, and it was the word self-love on a pair of pajamas, and then after the word was the dictionary definition of self-love. And it was quite a nice definition. I can't remember exactly what it said. These pajamas were not aesthetically pleasing. If anything, they were really itchy and quite uncomfortable, and a color that I would never normally wear. Quite ugly, to be honest. But I didn't buy it for that reason. And yes, it could just as easily have been a t-shirt, right? But what I needed in that moment was this visual prompt and reminder, because I realized at the time that I had so little self-love for myself. There was nowhere in my life that I was demonstrating any kind of self-love. And so I needed this reminder to help me on this journey. And that helped, that wearing those pajamas was part of the mirror work as well, because of course when you're wearing a t-shirt or a pair of pajamas or something like that, and the message is here on your chest, you can't see it for the most part. You're unaware of it, right? You just go about your day and you forget that it's even there unless someone points it out to you. But I would do the mirror work either before I brush my teeth or after I brush my teeth as I'm combing my hair, or at night as I was getting ready for bed. So those 2 points in the day when I would naturally be in my pajamas, I built this practice into that routine. So it became so effortless and seamless. And I invite you to do the same, like build it into a part of your routine when you would normally look in the mirror ordinarily anyway, and then just add a 60-second practice. If you can go for longer, amazing. But if this is new to you and it's really uncomfortable and big emotions come up for you, start with just a minute a day. And start by just staring at yourself and gazing into your eyes. And remember, initially, this is not about your physical appearance. This is about meeting yourself with kindness, meeting yourself with softness, meeting yourself with curiosity. Who are you? Who are you? And ask yourself in your mind, if that feels good as a question, who am I? Do I know myself? See what comes up, what questions come up for you. Or don't even do that, just sit and see naturally what comes up for you. And the reason this work is so important and so powerful and profound, and why I urge each and every one of you ladies out there to go and do this and try this, because when we do this and we build a strong relationship with ourselves, you're soothing and regulating your nervous system as well. You're training yourself and teaching yourself that you can trust yourself, that you feel safe in your own presence, that you can rely on yourself. And in my opinion, there are very few things out there that are more important than this. Because ultimately, no matter how wonderful it is to have other people to rely on and to feel safe amongst, and we all want that too, for sure, what can never be taken away from you is how you make yourself feel, how you are able to regulate your own nervous system. And as you begin to do this mirror work, that is what you begin to develop and deepen this relationship that, okay, I got me. No matter what happens, I will always put my needs first. No matter what happens, I will always love me. No matter what happens, I am here to take care of me. And with each of these little exercises and the practices that you go on to do, finish with a beautiful soft gesture, a smile, a kiss, blow a little kiss to yourself, something cheeky, something fun, or maybe a hug if that's what you need. Again, to further help regulate your nervous system. Maybe big emotions come up for you and that's what you need. And then if you're able to, as you begin to do this work and you move through this and then you become comfortable with looking at yourself in your eyes in the mirror, move to the next phase. I love you, and really mean it. I love you. I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. And see how that feels. When I started that practice, I would sit there sometimes giggling, and like the biggest smile would appear on my face. I'd be beaming from ear to ear because I meant it, and I would be looking at myself deep into my eyes, into my soul, and telling myself, I love you. And I'd never done that before. And I wonder how many of you have done that before. So that's your next step. And then beyond that, have whole conversations. I now, from when I began this practice, that like 5 years ago, I bought a mirror especially, and it sits here in my office so that I can do that work. I can do this work as I'm sitting in the office before I go and do something scary, or as part of my morning ritual, part of my morning routine. Sure, I can do it in the bathroom mirror or when I'm putting my makeup on or fixing my hair and all of those times as well. 100% I can do it then. But I began to do this work more and more and more. So I was doing it throughout the day as well. And so I actually keep a mirror especially, and it still is here in the office to this day. I keep the mirror here just especially to do the mirror work. And I love having conversations with myself now, telling myself about all the amazing things that I've done, how amazing I am, why I'm amazing, how wonderful I am. And no, it's not vanity. And maybe that's preventing you from doing this work. Because most of us will have been raised, I believe, I know I certainly was, not to be vain. And yes, I'm not encouraging anyone to go out there and be chauvinistic and vain and full of yourself. Not in that way, but this is just for you, for yourself. And I want you to be able to look in the mirror and say, yeah, I love what I see. I am beautiful. I am clever. I am worthy. I've got so much value to give. I'm freaking awesome. Right? Whatever it is you need to hear, have those conversations with yourself. The way you would speak to your best friend, the way you would speak to your child, the way you would speak to your lover. Speak to yourself in that same way. It's okay if you feel silly. It's okay if you feel embarrassed. That's perfectly normal. Start when nobody else is in the house. So then if anything big does come up for you, you don't feel then you need to turn the taps off or hide that or repress that or explain it to anyone. And you can just be. And initially, you're not even saying anything. You're just looking at yourself. So it's silent. Start there and then build on the practice. And then, yes, absolutely, bring in the body image too. If that is something that you need to work on or feel like you could benefit from, move to the full-length mirror. Stand there. Do it once a day and look at yourself in your birthday suit. And love everything that you see. And if you catch yourself saying, oh, oh gosh, that's got a bit big. Oh my gosh, my legs are rubbing there. Or, oh my goodness, look at those bingo wings. Or that's dropped a bit here. Or that's not as perky as it used to be. Whatever it is, right? Or those scars or those blemishes or those marks, that shape, whatever it is. Just catch yourself and reframe what you're saying. I promise you, start loving every single part of your body in the mirror. And say, oh, look at those legs. Look at that bottom. Look at that beautiful tummy and those breasts and that tall neck and that chin. You know, admire it all. Love everything that you see. It may feel like you are forcing it initially. And I'm not going to say fake it till you make it. But what you are doing is rewiring your brain. You're rewiring how you perceive things. And if you listened to an episode I did a couple of months ago, back in October, I think it was, the power of self-talk, the power of your words. If you haven't, I encourage you to go back and have a listen to that episode, because that comes into what we're talking about here today as well, especially with the body image. So do that, move to that stage where you're able to stand. And yes, that may be uncomfortable too. But this is such profound and powerful work to do, this relationship that we build with ourselves. And the mirror is an amazing tool to do it with. And most of us have access to a mirror. So I invite you, starting today, starting tomorrow, to just 60 seconds of looking at yourself in the eyes. And just hold your gaze. Begin there and then build on the practice one step at a time. And you may stay with the gazing for a month if that's how long you need. You may be ready to move on very quickly by the end of the week. There's no right, there's no wrong. Everyone is at a different stage. What's important here is how you meet yourself and the relationship that you build with yourself. Please do message me. Let me know what mirror work you've tried and what breakthroughs that you then go on to have. I cannot wait to hear your stories. Please do try it out. It's so simple, yet so powerful. And during this quiet, dark months that we are now going into, it's a beautiful practice to bring in and try for yourself. Okay. Thank you so much for listening. I so appreciate you. And I will be back here next week. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining me on this episode of High Self Mastery. If something landed, moved you, or sparked a shift, I'd love to hear from you. Be sure to follow, subscribe, and share this episode with a woman in your life that is also ready to rise. And if you found value in today's conversation, please take a moment to rate and review this podcast, especially in these early days. It really helps others to find this work too. If you're craving deeper support and sisterhood, join my mailing list using the link below, where you'll be the first to receive free meditations, learn about up-and-coming retreats, and other ways that we can work together. Until next time, honor your truth and trust in the timing of your becoming.